public servant for a long time for real. In fact, over 3 decades and in 3 different decades, the 70s, the 80s, and now. He has served the city of Springfield in many capacities as a chairman of the board for the Springfield Chamber of Commerce twice and as president of Downtown Springfield Incorporated. Please welcome to the stage Mayor Mike Houston.
Good evening. I don't think Steve can go back to that table after he said that about Cindy. You know, Steve mentioned that I did serve for 2 years as president of Downtown Springfield Incorporated. I followed Carolyn Oxtoby, who was the first president. And I happen to remember when we did this type of event back in those days. We were up in one small room on the top floor at lunch, and probably these 2 tables have more people than we had at that time. So when we think in terms of downtown Springfield, we've come a long way. But more importantly, it has had a real impact on our community, something that we all benefit from. I also want to take an opportunity. Victoria mentioned that Congressman Davis was here, and I don't know whether he is still here or not, but I did have a chance to just talk to him for a few moments while we were having dinner, and he literally just flew in from Washington, D.C., so I don't know whether Rodney is still here or not, but it's great to have him stop by. I'd also like to take the opportunity, while his wife is not here, we have the mayor of Rock Island with us here this evening, and Dennis Pauly, who is here with AT&T and our presenting sponsor, is also the mayor. So, Dennis, it's nice to have you here. I do want to thank Downtown Springfield Incorporated and Victoria Ringer for inviting me to give my assessment of the state of the city. I also appreciate that State Treasurer Dan Rutherford is joining us this evening to celebrate our successes in revitalizing downtown Springfield and recognizing DSI members for their individual accomplishments. It is with pleasure that I stand before you on the subject of downtown Springfield, and there are many areas of Springfield, but few as important. Today, it remains, as it has historically, the focal point, the property tax base, and the employment base of our community. You know, when I think about our downtown, I'm reminded of Abraham Lincoln, most notably as he was portrayed by Daniel Day-Lewis in the recent film Lincoln. Now, if there's anyone here that has not seen that film, you really don't know what you are missing. I think it's an absolutely great movie that is going to become a classic. In the movie, as the Civil War continues to rage, Lincoln struggles with the continuing carnage on the battlefield as he fights with many inside his own cabinet and in his own party in Congress on the decision to emancipate the slaves. What Lincoln did to get the results he wanted was to personally champion the cause. Every challenge needs a champion. I have been a champion for our downtown since it began to falter in the late 1970s. You know, as we think about today, we are very, very fortunate. One of our community's greatest accomplishments in 2012 was the Federal Railroad Administration's decision to issue a record of decision using the 10th Street corridor for high-speed rail through Springfield. It is the best solution that we could have hoped for. It is the best solution we could have hoped for, and it benefits the downtown area and our Near East area in particular, as well as our community as a whole. We now enter phase 2 of the project, securing the necessary funding from the federal and state government to make it happen. On Monday, we got some good news. Secretary of Transportation Ray LaHood said that he planned to stay on in his position, and that is something that I believe will help us move the 10th Street corridor forward. Springfield residents, local businesses, and our local workforce will be the major beneficiaries of those funds, and it is a major step forward for the downtown. I believe in the downtown, and while it will never be the retail center that it once was, our central business district needs to remain the community center of activity and focal point, along with being our employment and property tax base. My perception of downtown Springfield is one of an urban core that is very much alive and vibrant, with the best yet to come. Our city center has weathered the recent economic decline and dealt with the same challenges that other communities across this state and nation have endured. In reality, we have fared better than most because of our strong visitor presence that impacts our entire community. The main goal tonight is to give you my perspective on both the challenges the city and businesses in the face of the heart of the Springfield, including the next periods of development. Let us remember that this administration's starting point for all long-term development in downtown Springfield is wrapped in an economic context. Most of us in this room have dealt with the Great Recession in the past couple of years. We have suffered the impacts of fewer customers, less revenue, and an overall decline in the energy of downtown. If there is a silver lining from the recession, it's that it has given us here in downtown Springfield the impetus for drastic actions to restore our downtown's competitiveness. We are now in a fight to save, restore, and refurbish our competitiveness in a context of changed spending habits. The need for high-quality investment is critical for sustainable economic recovery, but there are limited resources and increased cost of financing and development. As leader of this city, I am committed to assisting those people who are willing to make an investment to reduce their risk in downtown Springfield to manageable levels so that long-term returns can be generated. The downtown TIF has been the tool that we have relied on to mitigate that risk, but that tool will disappear in its present form in 2016. As was mentioned earlier, this past year, Springfield welcomed the Sustainable Design Assessment Team, better known as SDAT, from the American Institute of Architects. They outlined possible funding sources that could be used when the downtown TIF expires, as well as provided a vision for our future. I have appointed an SDAT Action Committee, which is working right now to bring that vision to downtown. One of its most important points is clear. For downtown to remain a vital part of our city, we must increase the number of people who can live there. The team estimates that within the next 10 years, we could support the addition of nearly 350 new residences downtown. But the report also makes an argument that subsidies for this downtown conversion will need to be made. The report suggests that the subsidy be around 40% of a project's cost, which is much higher than what has been approved in the past. This, coupled with the fact that the downtown TIF is coming to an end, is why I have advocated for the careful spending of the remainder of the TIF money on projects that increases downtown's livability and increases its tax base. With the support of the Springfield City Council, the Central Area Tax Increment Financing District continues to show why sustainable design projects are so important. Recently, we've seen millions of TIF dollars committed to downtown investment. $1.8 million to the Salvation Army building, $2 million to Neiman's Foods property acquisition and site preparation for the County Market grocery store. And if you haven't driven by 2nd and Carpenter lately, You won't believe what that development, while it is unfinished, what it has done to clean up that area. $1.2 million to Quinette Development for the rehab of the building at 2nd and Adams Street. And we have some people who are living in in those apartments there. But when we look at 2nd and Adams, they have made a major improvement to that corner that includes a facade easement, offices on the first floor, and 12 residential apartments, all of which are rented. $5 million has gone for renovations at the Prairie Capital Convention Center, $2 million for the renovation of the Horace Mann Building, and the upcoming renovation of the Ferguson Building at 6th and Monroe, and the Booth Building on Monroe, which includes 22 new residential apartments that will receive $1.6 million. We've seen a lot of activity in downtown Springfield in the last 12 months, including major expansion at St. John's Hospital and Memorial Medical Center, which will help Springfield become the regional medical center for Central and Southern Illinois. The Kidzeum of Health and Science has been looking for a location in our community for some time. Tonight, I am pleased to announce that the Kidzeum Board of Directors has found a location that, in the words of its president, Rachel Thompson, and I quote, "This is a great location which is historic and located in the heart of downtown," end quote. That location is the former site of the Snep and Barnes Printing Company at 412, 414, and 416 East Adams. The details of turning this location into a 3-story, 24,000 square foot children's museum still needs to be worked out, and I anticipate that the Kidzeum receiving assistance from the Downtown Tax Increment Fund at some point in the near future. I would ask Rachel Thompson, the board's president, and the members of the board of directors that are present here tonight to please stand and be recognized. Thank you very, very much for your commitment to the downtown. I believe that the members of the City Council are as excited about this project as much as I am, and I anticipate taking a proposal for assistance to the City Council in the next couple of weeks. City government has a critical role to play in providing support to downtown Springfield's sustainable design. You, like me, might be supportive of the goals of sustainable development, but for the future, I believe that city and state leaders must provide more substantial and ambitious policy objectives if we are to see our goals to fruition. Downtown Springfield is in need of a champion for all aspects of sustainable development to deliver the direction, political leadership, and financial support to the district, and I want to be that individual. I want to encourage all businesses to invest in downtown Springfield sooner rather than later. We must all be ambitious. We need to be proactive. Private-public partnerships can deliver to the residents and visitors of Springfield the infrastructure in downtown Springfield that will help reboot a still struggling economy. Now, I know that city government faces many challenges at the moment. However, we do need to consider what will sustain us in the future. Downtown Springfield investment will help the whole community maximize its assets, its people, its businesses, and its public services. We have taken a more strategic approach to tourism, which is a major job creator for downtown. I'm already championing efforts to encourage conventions that were lost to our competitor cities to come back to Springfield. Just last week, we lobbied an organization at their board meeting to bring a convention back to Springfield in 2016 and 2017. That is a convention that we lost in 2005 to Peoria. Overall, 2012 for tourism was the best we could have hoped for given our economy. And for 2013, it looks like nothing but more good news. History Comes Alive celebrated its third year in 2012. Through our partnerships with the Illinois Office of Tourism, the Illinois Historic Preservation Agency, the National Park Service, and Downtown Springfield Incorporated, the program has continued. In 2012, we were able to expand an 8-week summer program to 12 full weeks. The program continues to grow in popularity among both individual and group travelers. Our historic sites ended the year with a 3% growth in attendance over 2011. The International Route 66 Mother Road Festival marked its 11th anniversary in downtown Springfield this past September. The 2012 event saw the most registered classic cars ever, more than 1,100 show cars parked throughout downtown Springfield. Visitors came from 18 states and 11 foreign countries. Crowd estimates for the 3-day event were approximately 80,000 people. The Lincoln movie had its debut in November of 2012 to rave reviews. A concentrated public relations program put together through a partnership between our Convention and Visitors Bureau and the Illinois Office of Tourism garnered more than $9 million in free media value for Springfield and reached more than 32 million potential consumers. 2013. In 2013, plans are already underway for a full slate of summer History Comes Alive events again this year. Through the efforts and the partnerships brought together by the History Comes Alive program, the Lincoln Historic Sites are continuing to develop programs throughout the year. The long-term vision behind the development of History Comes Alive was to continually expand so that eventually living history programs and entertainment will be available in Springfield every day, year-round. The Lincoln movie continues to generate buzz in 2013 with its magnificent showing in awards nominations, including the top slate of nominations for this year's Oscars. As a result, there has been a renewed interest in Abraham Lincoln and a heightened interest in learning more about Lincoln from travelers around the globe. Springfield is continually promoted as the one place on earth with the largest concentration of authentic Lincoln history and attractions. Throughout 2013, marketing and public relation efforts in tourism will continue to build on that momentum. The renovation of the Prairie Capital Convention Center, for all practical purposes, will be complete by the end of the year. The renovation will be a benefit to retaining our current annual conventions and meetings in downtown and will provide us an opportunity to bring back organizations that have left, as well as attract new convention and meeting business. 2 national groups have already signed contracts to return to Springfield due to the renovations. The Vietnam Veterans of America with 1,200 veterans and their spouses, and the American Baptist Association with 2,000 attendees will both return to Springfield in 2015. Springfield is anticipating several new groups coming to downtown Springfield in 2013, and returning groups are just as exciting. To make our visitors' stay as enjoyable as possible, I have been challenging my city directors to focus on downtown. Every day, I champion the notion to improve aesthetics and to remove the eyesores that have made our community less desirable. CWLP's installation of decorative lighting and the rebuild of the Springfield's electric system is nearly complete, as only one section of overhead utilities is left to move underground. More than 200 electrical services and other equipment have been moved underground to improve electric reliability and safety of the downtown system, and 447 decorative lights have been installed since the major construction began in 2002. Permanent service locations for downtown events and festivals have been installed, and spare systems for future electric and telecommunication projects have been put in place. It is our aim to make it as easy as possible for festival organizers to operate downtown with the stable electricity they require. If you read Monday's State Journal Register, you know the city is awaiting word on a grant of approximately $4 million to complete the final leg of the Capitol Avenue project between 2nd and 5th Street. It will conclude the Capitol Avenue project, which runs from 2nd to Martin Luther King Drive. We are also awaiting word on a nearly $2 million grant to do more streetscape in the downtown. And I know that's Larry Quinnett because he wants his sidewalk in front of his building. And with that $2 million, we will in fact be doing that sidewalk as well as many other sidewalks within the downtown area. And tonight, I stand here with confidence to announce that I've changed my tune when it comes to live music curfew in downtown Springfield. You know, after speaking with numerous downtown residents, I feel it is the most appropriate for live music to be allowed until midnight on Friday and Saturday nights. Last night, I introduced an ordinance to make midnight the cutoff time for festivals and other events permitted to play live music outdoors. I've listened to you, and I made a decision I feel is right for the downtown and right for Springfield. One of the projects we want to get underway in 2013 is a major multi-year development project. Step one is for the city to acquire the block between Capitol and Jackson and 4th and 5th Street, which is the block immediately north of the governor's mansion. It is the most developable block in the city, and it will be a catalyst for other development. As Lincoln did with his cause, I, as champion of the downtown, will pursue all available resources and assistance to downtown businesses and developers to shape the entire environment and facilitate a citywide buzz for projects and stimulate the most dynamic downtown in Illinois. What has been done in the past is merely groundwork for much greater things in the future. By working together, as we have in the past, we will continue the progress that we have made. DSI has been an excellent partner and advocate for downtown and deserves much of the credit for the progress that has been made. I look forward to continuing our working relationship. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you for caring about the downtown. I'm proud to have as my neighbors and business to have you as my neighbors and business owners in Springfield. May God bless you, and may God bless the great American city of Springfield.